Hello, and welcome back to the RPA Developer Production Ready Essentials training. In this demo, we will use data table activities to filter data based on specific criteria and output the results to a new file. Picture the following business scenario. We have a database with employees and we need to extract the name of those that meet certain criteria. Now, this kind of process is very common in every HR department today. So, let's begin. Here we have an Excel file containing a list of employees with columns for name, age, work domain, current job, and salary. It has around 300 entries. A standard way of working with Excel files is storing the data in data table variables and performing different manipulations to obtain the desired information. Once this is done, the data can be written to the same file or to a new Excel file. The first thing that we'll do is to read the data in the file. Let's add a workbook read range activity. Name it properly and define the file name, the output variable, and the range. In our case, since we want to get all the data in the file, we will leave the input range field from the properties panel as is. The second thing, we'll add the important bit. Let's say that we want to extract the name of the employees younger than 30 and with an income of more than 100,000. We'll use the Filter Data Table activity and the Filter Wizard button to customize the filter criteria. First, we need to provide the input data table. Second, we need an output data table. Now, since we don't want to create a different data table with the filtered results, we can enter the same variable. Let's use the keep option and specify the column that we want to filter. Age is one of them, and we'll type its name in the name column and then choose an operation. Now, the age should be less than 30, and that demands the less than operator, and set the value to 30.00. Now, it's important to keep in mind that it's mandatory to add the 0.00 after 30. Otherwise, filtering will fail. Now, we need to add the condition related to the income. We'll simply click the plus button next to the value and add a new condition is displayed below. Note the and before the condition. Now, it's crucial because we want to add this filter criterion apart from the other one. However, if we click on and, we'll see it changes to or. Now, that's useful if we want to filter the data according to multiple conditions. Not necessarily true at the same time. For instance, we might want to find everyone who is under 30 or earns over 100,000 a year. But for now, let's click or to switch back to and then enter income. Now, this time, we want to identify everyone who earns more than 100k. Obviously, we need to choose the greater than operator and then type the value input of 100,000.00. Note that all numeric data read from the Excel through the read range operation is interpreted by UiPath as double. So the values used for comparison in the filter wizard for these columns should always be formatted accordingly, like we did in this example. Now let's click the Output Columns tab. Here we can enter the specific columns to be processed. We are aiming at all of them, so we'll just leave this tab as it is. Let's click OK to close the tab. Now let's see how we could save all of it into a data table with a different format. We'll add a Build Data Table activity right after Filter Data Table. We'll use it to store the filtered data table. Inside Build Data Table, we'll delete the existing columns and create 3 new ones. Name, age, and income. We just need to give this new data table a name. Let's say Achievers DT. As a best practice, let's also rename the Build Data Table activity. Now here's a very important bit, the For Each Row activity. We'll use it to iterate through each individual row in the existing data table and extract only the information that we are interested in. Now we're going to iterate through the input DT variable, and for this we can use the getRowItem activity, which outputs the value of a specific cell to the current row. To indicate which cell we want, we'll use the column's name. Using the name is usually more reliable, since it doesn't need to be modified if other columns are added or removed. As for the output, we'll create a new variable. Now, let's replicate the activity for the next information that we are interested in and rename it. Besides the getRow item, we can also use the assign activity for the same purpose of extracting the information in a certain cell. For this, we'll define a new variable and use the row.itemArray method, followed by the index of the column that contains the data of interest. Let's return to the database. In our case, income is the 5th, but since the count starts from 0, we are going to put 4, followed by .toString, and we shouldn't forget to rename the activity. Once we have the information from the 3 columns that we're interested in, name, age, and income, let's use an addDataRow activity to add the data into the new variable. Now, the 2 important parameters here are the name of the data table variable to add into, in our case, achievers DT, and the data to add in the form of an array. The array is specified as a comma-separated list enclosed in braces or curly brackets. So now for each row in the file, the program will read the name, age, and income, and it will add the data to the empty data table created earlier. And that's it. We'll save the data table into a new file with an Excel application scope, specifying the output file and a write range, where we specify the achievers DT variable and select the add header options. And here's our results file with the filtered results. Thank you for watching. Until next time, happy automation.